Hey, hi everyone. Super happy to be here with you, and yeah, thank you, Cyril and Jackson for the invitation. I really enjoy the talk, by the way, because we are fighting with Amazon on our Kubernetes to create all these applications that we generate. So it would be super useful to the project that we just saw. So my name is Ulric. I'm the founder of Marbleism. So Marbleism is a platform to generate application from a single prompt. So essentially, you go on our website and you describe your application. So, it could be a SaaS, it could be a social network, a marketplace, any kind of complex software that is not like a static website or a landing page. And so you go on our website and you type what you want to build, right? So you can see here, it could be a SaaS to manage your contract, a SaaS to manage the expenses. We built this as well, which is a marketplace for pools to find pools in New York, which is a bit strange, but anyway. So here you can see some few apps as well. So we recreated a Twitter. We recreated a project management app like Asana called Asana. And yeah, so in this talk, I just want to show you how it works, like in practice, and then tell you a little bit more as well about what's under the hood and how it works with like the AI, etc. But before that, I just quickly want to tell you why we are building Marblism. And essentially, we are building the product we would have dreamed of having when we started all of our software project in the past. I learned how to code when I was really young, and I did like plenty of different projects and applications. So my first project was a community for readers and writers to share novels. Then I did an online video game. Then I did a Tinder for fashion, which was quite ridiculous because I was literally the most unfashionable person at uni. And so we did all of this project. We made all the dumbest mistake you can make as a founder. Like I was fighting with my co-founder on the logo, on the color scheme. We spent like 6 months building a product, releasing to the public without talking to users. I mean, we did everything. And eventually, like our last startup worked pretty well. That was called Vauban, and it was an SPV and fund infrastructure platform. So it was an easy way to launch a venture capital fund. And so we got acquired 2 years ago by Carta, like the cap table company. And essentially with my co-founder, we wanted to do another startup. So we were going through our list of ideas, right, for this next startup. And we were just a bit like frustrated with how you start projects, like you need to pick up your design system, you need to create your authentication, to set up your backend, to set up your frontend, to connect everything together, to build your first features, etc. And it could take weeks or months, right, before you can you can launch a product. And between the time I started software development, so I was 12, and the time I exited my first startup, I was 29. So that's 17 years of trying to build products people may like. And so we were thinking, how can we shorten this timeline, right? So people can launch their ideas and iterate on their application faster. And so that's how we created Marblism. So let's try it out right now. So I'm gonna go on there is an AI for that. They just launched like a request for startups where people can post, request of tools they would love to do. And so we're gonna, there was one I really like, the AI fairy tale generator for kids. So we're gonna try to do this. And so I'm gonna go to Marblism. So we're gonna call it fairy tale. going to be a SaaS. And here we're going to input the project description. It's going to be an AI fairy tale generator for kids. And right now we have two themes. We have light or dark mode. So we're going to put light. And then we click next. And so the first step here, what is doing is that it's analyzing your requirements, and so it's going to rewrite your prompts and split your prompts into different user stories as well. And the second thing that it's going to do is check that we can actually do your app. For example, if you had asked for a crypto exchange like Binance, it would have told you, listen, right now we don't have a blockchain module, so it's not going to work. And so here you see like the AI basically rewrote our application. So an app that generates fairy tales for kids using AI. As a user, I can input keywords. I can view the generated fairy tale, etc. Okay. So we press next. And now it's generating our backend essentially. So the database schema. So here what we expect is to see like a table for user, a table for fairy tales, maybe a table for images as well if we want to save the fairy tale. And so while it's loading, I can maybe explain what's under the hood. So essentially this is how it works. Because you've got a lot of startups, right, in the code generation space. And most startups, their approach is to build like a very generalistic AI, right? That can code in Python, that can code in JavaScript, in C++, everything. And it's very hard to do. We took the opposite approach of essentially narrowing down like a very specific framework. And so our first framework that we pick is to create application in this framework. So React for the front end and Node for the backend with a database and a couple of modules. And so essentially what the AI does really is to take this template and customize it for the end application. So for example, if it requires an authentication, it's going to put the authentication inside. And we realized it was a really good approach because essentially you don't want your AI to generate your authentication or your permission access level. Like you want it to be super stable and you want it to be secure, etc. So you don't want any mistake on your Stripe integration, on your authentication. So that's why like using this kind of modularized approach worked pretty well. And then the second thing is that essentially we want to enable developers to create their own template. So for example, if you wanted to generate app in Python as a backend, you would create a template for that. And then our kind of orchestration layer could work on this template to spin up new apps with a Vue frontend and Python backend. So that's kind of how it works under the hood. And so let's see where we are with our apps. Okay, cool. So 6 tables have been generated. We have users, fairy tale, keywords, favorite as well if we want to, I guess put some fairy tales in favorites and an image as well. Okay, cool. So we press next. And now it's going to generate all the pages in our application. So we're going to expect, pages to generate a fairy tale, pages to display all your fairy tales, like this type of things. And so we're going to wait. Okay, cool. 11 pages have been generated. So we can see we have the login, register, generate a fairy tale, view fairy tale, etc. And so here you can edit as well, like the description of each page. So if you wanted, for example, a very particular user experience for this page, like that's where you would extend the description. And then we're going to click next. Okay. And now it's generating the code base. So it takes like 5 good minutes plus 5 minutes of deployment. So what I did was I created this app just an hour before, so that would be faster time to build that. So it's exactly the same app, like fairy tale generator. And we can go to my app. And we have an online code editor as well if you want to dive into the code base and make changes by yourself, or you can add your GitHub as well to access the code. So let's go to my app. That's why we need the Kubernetes, the ChatGPT for Kubernetes. I think will help. Okay, we are nearly there. Okay, everyone see it, yeah. So that's my app. So I can do explore fairy tale. So this is kind of the fairy tales created by the community. We create as well for each app some dummy data as well, so people can can have a better sense of what the app looked like in the end. If it was all empty, like you don't really know what to do. So this is like dummy data generated by AI. So we can see that you can you can see all the fairy tales. You can upvote as well one and put one in your favorite. This is all the fairy tales that you created, as a user, and we can see that all the logic work. Basically, if I wanted to delete one, like the backend works, all the connection are made. And let's try to create one. So we can say so princess, and I don't have a lot of inspiration, sorry guys. So an epic tale about a prince trying to save a princess in a very far away galaxy. And we click generate. And so here, let's see if it works. It's supposed to generate something. So for example, here I think what's missing is that there is no loading, okay. Perfect, it works. So we have our fairy tale, once upon a time, etc. But I'm not going to read it. And it generated a cool picture as well, for your kids to see. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I can save the fairy tale here, and I have it here. And then I can see it in my fairy tale. Can I see it somewhere? Maybe like explore fairy tales. Yeah, okay, it's here. So you see, like all the logic basically works. Then you can as well iterate on your app. So here I could say, for example, in create your fairy tale, all the logic works, but maybe, we wanted like a loading button, right? To see that it's actually loading. So here I could say, hey, add a loading state when the user click on generate. So add a loading state on the button when the user clicks on generate. And so you can make changes to your application on the fly. Essentially what we see people doing for big changes, like to create new features or to add a new page, like they will prompt. But because it takes like 1-2 minutes for the prompt to come back with the end result, if you want to make a tiny change like that, most people would just open the code base and do it by themselves. So we need to improve on the time it takes to code, basically. And so let's see. But if anyone has any question as well while it's while it's loading. Essentially, if you try to use AI to generate 500 files in a code base, it's not going to work. Like the AI is going to deviate way too much, and you're not going to have like a very coherent code base. So what we do is that we start from a template of like 300, 500 files, and then this template get customized and via a RAG as well and we use OpenAI. Yeah. So that's how it works. So it's a combination of AI plus templates that enable us to really come to, to like a enterprise ready code base with like an authentication, some permission, role access level, etc. That if you had only used ChatGPT, it would have never worked. Like it would have had way too much deviation. So right now it only works with our specific design system. So we use Ant design as a design system. So if you wanted to use your own one, for now it doesn't work. Like we want to, I think what would happen is that you would need to create another template that is specific to your design system, or that is specific to like Material UI, for example, if you wanted to do that. So for now, yeah, you can't include your own. Essentially, you own the source code, so you can see it. You can see it here. Like you can just put your GitHub username, and then we give you access to the code base, and you are free to clone it, fork it, and do whatever you want. And we have as well an online code editor, so a bit similar to Replit, where if people want to play around with it, they can just launch a code editor, so you don't have to do any kind of setup on your computer or anything like that. But no, you are the owner of the code. For now, no. Like it only works within the template and the code base that we create. But we are looking to implement a system, where you can import your existing code base and then it can add features on top of it. We use essentially OpenAI to generate the code. But because we know the code base by heart, with all these different modules, these templates, etc., we can add way more context into the prompt, and that's why it's gonna produce like a better application that if you had just started on ChatGPT and ask for like a full backend frontend database application, like it wouldn't have been a really good result if you had done that directly on ChatGPT. So it's because we have all the context of the application that we can give the right context at the right moment to OpenAI, and that's why it can create like a better result. So essentially, we test the application to make sure that there is no compilation errors. So we can guarantee that all the apps can be launched and there is no compilation errors. But that doesn't mean that there will be all the features, fully implemented exactly like you asked. And so that's why, we have this prompt where you can iterate on your app. So sometimes if it doesn't work, you prompt, when I try to save my fairy tale or whatever, I have an error. Can you fix it? But we run and we test the application in the background to make sure that at least there is no compilation errors or like blue screen or red screen. No, I think it will be too complex for now. But I think it's not. I think we should try. I mean, I'm not going to try right now because I can't guarantee that it's going to work. But I think we should try. Maybe you can get to a state, like you can get to the 90%, and you need to spend some time on the last 10% to make sure it works. So that's essentially our goal with Marblism is really to take you to the 90% finish line, and then you spend your time on the 10% like critical to your app. So it's about saving people's time. It's not really about having like a fully finished product ready to launch in 1 minute. It's really making you 10 times more productive. So everything is in TypeScript. So it's React on the front end in TypeScript and Node.js on the back end in TypeScript as well. And it's completely free to use as well if you want to play around. Essentially, it's pretty cute. But it works with marbles. So you buy some marbles, but everyone starts with like a starter kit of 100 marbles. And if you need more, you can talk to me there and I can give you some marbles discreetly. I mean, we use GPT-4. We process, I think we are at 10 million token a day of usage, between 10 to 100 million when we have a lot of traffic. And then one application costs us around $1 to make. So yeah, that's about that. I mean, I really like Grok. I mean, which is not exactly a model, but more like a platform to run the models like faster. Because you see in our example, when I try to make a change, it would take like 2 minutes, right? And it's a bit frustrating. Like you want it to be quick, especially, if it doesn't work like all the time. So you want to have a quick feedback, like max 10 seconds will be ideal. And so with Grok, it's so fast that I think we can decrease like, the waiting time to like maybe 10 or 20 seconds. But the problem is that Grok only works on Llama and Mistral. And for code generation, like the quality is not there yet. But hopefully, in 6 months, if this open source language catch up, I think it's going to be good. Yeah, totally. There was one cool app that that 2 founders did. It was a SaaS for doctors to record their patients' calls and then summarize them with AI. And so they are trying to launch this startup for doctors. So I thought it was a pretty good use case. But yeah, it's very funny to see what people type. Like it's so diverse. It's so broad. And yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Correct. Yeah, like they own the code fully, so they can just generate the code, leave the platform, never go back. I mean, I should not say that, but yeah.